keep commenting already. Hello, 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 and good afternoon. Happy Tuesday. It is your girl, Miss Lee, full-time real estate entrepreneur based out of the Atlanta, Georgia area. Hold on one second. Let me turn down my volume on this side. Today, it is my absolute pleasure to welcome Mr. Tim Harvey, full-time real estate entrepreneur based out of the Atlanta, Georgia area. Tim, thank you so very much for coming back on the show today. We actually had you on the show last week, Thursday, I believe, but due to some technical difficulties, we had to move the show to today. So I'm super excited to have you back on the show. Please take a moment and introduce yourself to our viewers.
Well, first of all, I just want to say thank you so much for the opportunity to share with your viewers. Hello to your viewers out there. We certainly appreciate you guys. Thank you for giving us the opportunity to be on the show. Not only last week, but this week. We certainly appreciate that. We're grateful for that. My name is Tim Harvey. I had a firm called HD Investments, and we started that back in 2000. So we've been in business for close to about 20 years. Been in the real estate business for close to 20 years. We also have a firm called RE2 Design, Consulting and Construction. We started that last year. And we also have a group, as you know, called REI Wholesalers R Us. That's with my partner, William Gallaway, that we started back in 2015. So I've been in this business for a long time. I had some ups and downs, but we're in it, and have been, steadily going for the last 7 years.
7 years. And so I know last week you were saying you've been in the industry for 17 years, but
Yes.
You've been steadily going for 7 years.
Absolutely. What the way it happened was, I actually got into the business back in 2001,
Right.
and started, I was a restaurant manager. With an entrepreneur's background, because my dad was an entrepreneur, and I was the kid that I was always selling candy at school, but but ended up with a vending machine company. Started that right out of high school. Was helped by my dad, and really, after a while, after some success, I had about 100 locations, and after some success, I ended up really messing up the business, and was just really too young to handle the success. So I ended up finding myself in the restaurant business, and started waiting tables. And eventually, they gave me an opportunity to run the store, and ended up becoming the youngest manager at that company. And was able to serve there up until 2001, when the real estate bug hit me and another partner of mine, who were he worked at Coca-Cola and I worked there. So we both had quote unquote good jobs. So when we left our jobs, everybody was asking us, why'd y'all leave? Why'd y'all leave? And, we just believed in this real estate. We knew that this real estate was going to happen. Earlier, my dad gave me an opportunity to renovate one of his houses. And so I had just a little bit of success, and I had a little bit of taste of it. But anyway, when me and him left, we both left our jobs. We were able to do our first rehab. We didn't have YouTube or anything like that. We didn't have anybody to show us the ropes or anything, but we just believed, and we did our first rehab and or renovation, and really just got our shirts handed to us on that first deal. But through that, we found that we loved what we were doing, and ended up in the industry all the way up until 2008. Did very well all the way up until 2008, and that's when the crash hit. And reacting to some bad advice, I ended up leaving the industry. Tried to stay in just for a little bit, but ended up leaving the industry, and found myself back in corporate America again. And found myself in corporate America for a couple of years. And listen, I hated it because I had already had a taste. I'd already had a taste of what it was like to be free and what it was like to be outside, and just hated corporate America. So again, me and a friend, we were both at our jobs, at our cubicles, mind you, and we both wanted to get out. And so we pretty much, we mindseted our way out of that, out of corporate America. One thing that we did was, we started doing our we started doing affirmations every day at our desk.
Wow.
And people around us was asking us like, hey, don't you guys, don't you guys want to do this? This is a good job. What are you guys doing? At lunch, we would leave at lunch and then go look at real estate. I
Now,
ran into.
can I ask you a question?
Mhm.
So, just a moment ago, you said you all started doing affirmations at your desk.
Yes,
What
ma'am.
made you decide at work with that partner at the time to say, let's start doing affirmations? And what type of affirmations were you doing?
That's a good question. We both had some experience in network marketing,
Okay.
so so one thing that I loved about network marketing is it really taught me mindset really,
Right.
and we both had some experience in network marketing, so we knew from network marketing that if we did those affirmations that we would believe, and the first things that we started to say was I'm Tim Harvey. I'm a real estate millionaire in 1 year. That kind of thing.
Wow.
We would say those things to ourselves every day. We had them written down in our cubicles, and thankfully we had a cool boss. Our boss, he was cool, and he knew what we were doing. He knew we were trying to get out of corporate America, and
Wow.
he worked with us for as long as he could. And one thing that made me that really gave me belief was we were out for lunch one day. Me and my partner Charles, we were out for lunch one day, and I decided to visit an old old attorney friend of mine. And when I went to the office, I couldn't believe, like how much work they had and how much business they had. And this was like right after things had started to happen. And I couldn't believe it. I was like, y'all are still in business? And they were like, yeah, we're still in business. And that thing really just fueled my belief. And, from there,
That it's not, that it wasn't over.
yeah, let me know it wasn't over. And from there, I just, we really began to believe. And, during lunch, instead of going to lunch with our peers and our friends, we go out looking at houses. You know what I'm saying? Like we would go out looking at houses, and, just we'd be driving for dollars, after work, be driving for dollars, and eventually, find myself upon a deal, and found a good deal. And I didn't know what I was doing, but I ended up partnering up with somebody that knew what they were doing at the time, and that gave me, I got paid very well off that deal.
Right.
So by the time it was time for me to get fired, because it did happen, he got fired first and then I got fired. So when we got fired, we actually thanked our boss, like thank you for this opportunity. I don't know if but like when you work corporate America, when you have to leave, a job, they make you go down to HR, sign papers and things of that nature. And instead of it being sad, we're actually very happy that it was happening.
Right.
And I was like, wow, when I walked outside, I was like, wow, I'm free.
Right.
Wow, I'm free. I'm actually outside in the middle of the day. And for entrepreneurs, it's not a big deal, to be outside in the middle of the day, really, right? But
Right.
but for somebody that works in corporate America, that works in a glass, and where there's ceilings everywhere, to be outside in the middle of the day enjoying things was such a big deal. So, the first day out, we immediately started doing deals. At back then, short sales were popular. And
Right.
I grabbed we grabbed the pre-foreclosure book, which was about this thick at the time. It was extremely thick. And my one of my partners, he took one side of Lithonia. I took the other side of Lithonia, and we start knocking on doors. And we start knocking on doors, and that
So,
was the
so a
beginning.
question. I have a
Mhm.
question. When you say knocking on doors, because a lot of people hear that phrase,
Yeah,
were you actually going to people's house and knocking on doors?
absolutely, absolutely. Like we would find people that were okay. Let me back up. We would find people that were going in distress.
Right.
People that were going into pre-foreclosure, and just go up and knock on their door and be like, hey, when they open the door, hey, I'm looking down my list here, looking very official. I'm looking
Right.
down my list, and I just want to know if there's any way that I can help you out with this bank. And and
Wow.
and 2 out of 10 people said yeah. So
Wow. That is,
so
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 now really quick though, knowing, you did that at a certain point in time, would you advise new people getting into the industry to knock on doors if they had a list, are you saying to go knock on doors, or are you just saying that's something that you did in the beginning
Right.
and you were started to establish
Right.
yourself in the
Right.
business?
During the time, and I wouldn't tell anybody specifically to do that unless they felt that they were led to do it. But for us, like my back was up against the wall. I'd
Right.
just been released from my job. Had a couple of weeks of unemployment per se, and I knew some things had to happen. I didn't have any back then. There wasn't YouTube to tell you how to do real estate or anything like that. But you just had to kind of figure it out. So an attorney helped us and said, listen, if you guys can get these guys to agree to sell their house, then I think that we can do something. So that's what we did. That's what we did. But I wouldn't tell people to specifically do that because right now, of course, with everything that's going on in the world, you want to
Right.
be safe.
Social distancing and everything else that's happening. Yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely. But that's what we did, and that really jump started my career. The second half of my career. That jump started the second half of my real estate career, and from there, from there, I mean, it's been a blessing since. So.
Wow. So knocking on doors,
Mhm.
2 out of 10 people answer. You then tell them, "Hey, I'm here to assist you in fixing your situation because you
Yeah,
were reaching out to homes that were in short sale." From
right.
this point, you didn't go back to corporate America. Have you been into corporate America since that time, or was that the
No,
beginning? Um,
no, but I, there were times where you weren't sure, if you made the right decision. To be honest with you,
mm,
but and there were times when when I wanted to go back,
right,
but there was just something inside that said, hey, you just got to keep going. You just got to keep going. You got to keep doing this, and when at the end, you're gonna see fruit. You're gonna see success, and that's what spurred me. So thank God I haven't been back to corporate America since I think it's 2010, 11, something like that.
wow, it's a
But
blessing.
you know it's been a real blessing. So what we would do is we would actually take the pre-foreclosure list, and then do the short sales. If the people said it was okay, we would then do the short sales and get the bank to agree to lower whatever they owed, because of course everybody was over leveraged. And then at that point we would buy the asset, or excuse me, property. We would buy the property and either sell it or rent it out. So
Wow,
that's what we
wow,
did. And that's how I got introduced to wholesaling. Really was like, I was like, you mean, and I was like, you mean I really don't have to keep all these houses?
wow.
So and people were wanting to really buy these houses. So that's really how I got momentum in the wholesaling sphere. So.
Wow, that's amazing. That's amazing.
Mhm.
And throughout all of that, what would you say is the most important lesson that you learned on your journey from transitioning into corporate America into just, going full time into real estate investing and taking control over your life and your schedule?
I think the main thing is just like you've got to know that there's a purpose. You've got to know that there's something. For me, the most important thing was I knew that there was something outside of corporate America. Because I guess I had some experience before. I had some seeds from my dad. And my granddad. They were both they're both entrepreneurs. So just knowing that you're destined for something, a little bit different. And how that, I think I think it takes prayer. I think one key for that is prayer. Your creator. Find out from your creator, hey, what is it I'm supposed to be doing? And once you find that out, then you really need to focus on that and pay attention to that. So that I think that's the biggest thing that I've taken from that.
Wow. And so having that, and what advice would you give to someone who's new into it, who's saying, you know what, I'm not really sure, what should I do? What advice would you give someone who said, Tim, what should I do? I really want to get out of my job.
Yeah.
What are the best ways of me getting in?
Well, the first thing I think you really need to do is really take it to your creator. Take it to and really whatever it is, but you really need to take it to that source. Okay, when you take it, when you take whatever issue it is to that source, like when you're making a major life decision, take it to that source. Really focus on what it is. Get into a still and quiet place. Like for instance, I'm just gonna give you an example. If you're around a lot of negative people, then you may not be able to hear. You may not be able to hear clearly. What it is that you're supposed to do. So get into a quiet place. I'd say if you've got to work corporate America, then I would say like when you get up in the morning, because there are going to be distractions in the daytime. It just is what it is. You're on somebody else's territory. So, before when you get up early in the morning, when you have your alone time, I would say that's the time to really seek, what it is that you're supposed to do. Also, like if you get into your car, sometimes, I know it take like 60 minutes to get to work. Use that time to meditate. Use that time to really meditate. Use it. Use it wisely. Don't listen to the radio, because the radio and all that other stuff, those are actually distractions. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that stuff, but when you are making decisions about your life, you really have to focus and get into that spot. So that's the main thing that I would say. And then from there, once you get an okay to do what it is you're supposed to do, get with somebody that knows how to take action. I would say that, somebody that knows how to do what you're doing or what you plan on doing. Find out from that person. Don't, listen, I would say bring value. What it is that you can do. Hey, I can do this. Can I follow you? Can I do this? Can I do that? Maybe you can do some camera work, or maybe, but just make it an exchange, so that you are giving in a way to where you can receive. So I would say that. And then, once you do that, take some action. Those are some things that you can do. So being around the right people will spur you to go ahead and take action. So our thoughts at REI Wholesalers R Us is, you've got to definitely get your mind right before you do anything. That's before you do anything on impulse, and don't do anything on impulse, but really get your mind in place. Once you get your mind in place, then you're open to receive, what you need to receive.
Wow. And don't do anything on impulse.
No. When the reason I said that in corporate America, we had to put those affirmations up was because we had a lot of influences around us that were telling us other things. They were telling us different things. So I'm not saying we isolated ourselves, but we insulated ourselves away from all the negative talk, and in their minds that's positive talk. Corporate America, who doesn't want that, right? You know what I'm saying? But for us, me and Charles, we wanted something different. And so we had to insulate ourselves at every turn. And in doing that, those are things that you have to do. You can't be afraid. Like if you're in corporate America, you can't be afraid. You can't be afraid of, what the repercussions may be, And this is what I do say, okay? Like if you have a spouse or somebody else that depends on you, make sure that you consult with that person. Consult with them and then come into some type of agreement, before, before before you take action, because remember that what you're doing, it does affect others, and those that you are betrothed to or those that you are affecting, you have to make sure that y'all are in agreement so it won't affect you in that way.
Wow. Yeah. That is great advice. I mean, really making sure you have clarity, and then making sure that you share that your plan and everything with anyone who's around you, so that everyone is on the same page and everyone is in agreement with, hey, this is what I'd like to do. These are the steps that I'd like to take, and just taking it to the source. Really powerful and important lessons. I had a question for you. Are you a parent?
Yes, I am.
You are a parent.
She's 15 years old.
Oh, wow. So you have one daughter?
Yeah, I have one daughter.
Well, that's good. That's good. What are some of the words of advice? Is your daughter thinking about getting into real estate investing? And what are some of the words of advice that you give to the youth and teenagers with regards to just their goals in corporate America and real
Mhm.
estate investing. What are some of the, knowing that you experience that now, what are some of the things that you tell your daughter?
Well, I would say this. I would say this. Like what I tell Madison, all the time is like this is this is the most important time of your life, and every time of your life is going to be the most important time of your life, no matter what period you are. But right now is the most important time of your life, and just in conjunction with everything that's going on, with people not being able to see their friends and all that stuff. Just remember, like, even though this is the most important time of your life, this is not the highlight of your life. This is not going to be the highlight of your life. I say this, for people that are trying to graduate from high school, this should not be the highlight of your life. You've got, like you've got you've got milestones that you're supposed to reach. I was listening to somebody earlier and they were talking about this. They were talking about that show. You remember Married with Children with
Yep.
Al Bundy?
Yep.
A lot of people don't know about that show, but with Al Bundy, you remember that the highlight of his life at all times was the time when he scored 4 touchdowns in high school, and that was the highlight of his life. And he kept on looking back at it, and that's why he wasn't successful as a man, because he kept looking back at that time as that being the best time of his life. So what I tell kids now is, listen, this is not going to this doesn't even scratch the surface of what you're able to do. The other thing that we want them to do is really, really think about their purpose. Really think about their purpose. You can, like, listen, me and you, we we may have had a taste of our purpose early, but we didn't, like, all this stuff that's around us, YouTube, everything that's out there, we can execute now. They have examples now of people that are successful now. So, at their age. So, I would just say this, take advantage of the time now. With chaos that's going on around you, there are so many opportunities. The wealth transfer, everything is changing. There are opportunities that you can really take advantage of right now. There's just so much. There's just so much. One thing I think is funny is, like, they're giving kids driver's licenses without having to go take the test.
Right.
You don't have to take the test.
No question.
So that's just an example. That's an example of some of the things that have been created that, that, look, we had to do. You understand what I'm saying? So I think our kids now, I mean, they have a better foundation than what we had. So they need to definitely take advantage of that.
Wow, that is really good advice, and just making sure that this is not it. Even though it's important that you're
Yeah,
graduating, it's important that you're doing everything, but
yeah.
just know that there's the best is yet to come, and there's
Best
more
is
to
yet to
come.
come. Yes.
Wow. Yeah.
And even as adults, some of us in our 30s and 40s, even some of us in our 50s, the
Right.
best is still yet to come. It's still
Right.
yet to come. And that's the thing that we always have to see.
Wow. So I want to ask you a little bit about the Wholesalers R Us
Yeah.
and that organization and the company that you started.
Hmm.
How did you go about getting it started, and what was the reasoning behind having it started? And how has it impacted your life as a real estate investor by having that platform?
Okay, Wholesalers Are Us. Why we started Wholesalers Are Us?
Mhm.
The thing that me and Will were able to start. I just believe we were picked up by God. I mean, we both had the same aspirations. When it came to this business, we had the same beliefs. We had the same sense of community, the same sense of sharing, and through just being friends. Like, I've always believed in doing business with my friends. I've always believed in that. And, like, my best friends I do business with, in real estate. So I've always believed in that. So just through that, we were like, well, look, we're already talking to people. So, let's just go ahead and start a community. And God blessed us to start a community. We sat down, put it on paper. And once we put it on paper, the Bible says to make your vision plain, write it down and make it plain for others to see. That's what it says. So,
Mm.
we had to get to a place where we were writing it down. We talked about it for a long time. And finally, we got to a place where we went to Barnes and Noble and sat down and actually talked about it, discussed it, wrote down the plan. And then when we wrote down the plan, that's how we came up with our first meeting. And our first meeting, was I think it was at Piccadilly's, the cafeteria. And through that, it's just evolved. I mean, it's evolved, and that's how we were able to start the organization. It's been 5 years. And 5 years has flown by quickly. We've been able to help people earn six figures. We've been able to help people get their first deals, which we're grateful for. We've been able to help our partners that may have been may be in the business but get deals done. So we've been able to do a lot of things, and we've also been able to inspire people. Which is a blessing. So you know. I just say this, your life is always for somebody else. It's never for you. It's always for somebody else. And once you kind of get that mindset, then I don't see how you can't have success.
Super important, super important. So, I mean, you took a moment and you all took a time to write down the vision and make it
Yes.
clear and
Yes.
be on the same page. And there was something that you said, you all had common goals, common beliefs. And
Yes.
because of that, you knew that you could create a common vision
Right.
of something and develop it into
Right.
a plan. And even now with Wholesalers R Us, you all are not charging any of the people who come to your events.
No.
It is free knowledge, it's a free platform to just share information and work together with getting deals done.
Right. So yeah, I mean, and thank you. But I mean, yeah, that's what was put on us, was to do it that way. And again, like I said, I'm grateful. I never thought that I would even be doing anything. I used to be the kind of person, Hakia, that I didn't really like posting stuff.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? I used to be that
Yeah.
kind of person, and I don't know what happened. So,
Right.
I don't know what happened, but
I think too, for me, when it comes to posting things, I realize that my purpose is to inspire other people to know
yeah,
if I can do it, they can do it. And to give back. It's a way of giving back when you're
right,
sharing, because if no one shared or no one ever wrote a book or no one ever shared their story, the idea that things were possible would never be there for others to see.
right,
So
right.
posting and sharing your event, it helps other people know, hey, this is actually something that I can do. This is something that other people are doing and that it's possible.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. And I guess that's the part where you just kind of come out of yourself. And I guess one thing that we were inspired by is like we saw your example. Like we saw, like just like when you came with on the wholesaling Queens of Atlanta, the one thing that we saw that really, really, really blessed us was we saw you had your tribe with you, and they were all essential parts of your business, and that I mean, like that's such a blessing. I don't, like it put me in tears, to be honest with you. It put me in tears to be able to see that, and to see that they were in tune with what you're doing, in tune with the vision, that's been put forth, and that right there, I mean, that's a blessing. And then all the ladies that came back and were talking about, that Hakia, she's so poised, she knows what she's doing, just everything. So it's a blessing to be able to see that. It's a blessing to be able to, kind of have a platform. And then, through that platform, you're seeing other people blessed by the people that are part of your platform. So,
Right.
so
Yeah.
that was a blessing, and continues to
And
be.
I call it the win-win-win, where you're
Yeah,
able to, it's a win for you, it's a win for the people, it's a win for, and it just creates so many, it's positive,
right.
the vibrations of it is all good. It's so yeah, that's absolutely amazing, absolutely
Yeah.
amazing stuff. I know, do you plan to like stretch the Wholesalers R Us movement to other states? Are you planning on
Yeah.
growing to other states
Yeah.
eventually?
Right now, the plan is to actually go into other states. We're working on some things that's going to get us into some other states. I think with everything that's happened over the past couple of months, it has kind of redirected and allowed us to kind of put us in a position to kind of pivot. and and change a little bit. But yeah, the plan is to actually get into other states. We are doing business currently in other states, but the plan is to kind of have a foothold, in other places where we can extend our family. So yeah, definitely we have plans for that.
Wow, absolutely amazing. And where can people find any content when it comes to wholesalers are us, or information with contacting you?
Oh,
What's the
okay.
best way to contact you?
Yeah, specifically with wholesalers or us. I mean, you can send an email to REI wholesalersorus at gmail.com. Or, you go to our YouTube page. We've been, just over the past couple of months, we've been expanding our YouTube page. We've got a lot of great content on there. We want to make it to where, the person that's looking on YouTube, they have nothing but positive stuff to see, stuff that can help them move forward in their business. So we're doing that through Wholesalers R Us. To reach me, they can actually go, you can reach me on Instagram, who is Tim Harvey, Facebook, Tim Harvey, who is Tim Harvey. You can go to my website, hdinvestments.net. So yeah, I mean, there's several different ways to reach us.
Wow, awesome. Well, I want to thank you for taking time out of your afternoon to share some of your keys to success in your life and in your
Thank you.
business. Before we sign off, are there any final words that you'd like to leave our viewers and your final keys to success?
Yeah, I just want to tell you guys to go ahead and remember this. What consumes your mind controls your life. What consumes your mind controls your life. So you might as well allow the right consumption of things to happen inside of your mind. You might as well. You might as well, because if you let the right thing control your mind, then guess what? You're going to have a good life. So that's what I want to say.
Wow. Wow. Great, great words of advice. And I actually said that same thing to my daughter this morning. When you focus on
Oh,
expand,
wow.
focus on the right things, focus on the positive things,
Right.
and allow those things to guide you. And be
Absolutely.
on that vibration, because everything is energy. So you need to
Absolutely.
be on the vibration of positivity at all times. And that's why,
Absolutely.
focusing on too many negative things is just not, it's, yeah.
Absolutely.
Wow.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Well, great stuff. Tim, thank you so very much for taking time out of your afternoon to
Thank
discuss
you
some of
again.
your keys to success with our viewers. Thank you for coming back on the show and sharing your story. It was absolute pleasure to hear it and hear how you transitioned out of corporate America into owning now a successful real estate business here in the Atlanta, Georgia market. And unless there's anything else that you'd like to say to our viewers, we're going to go ahead and sign off. And I just want to thank our viewers, everyone who
Thank
tuned
y'all.
in.
Thank
Will Gallaway said, "This is going to be good." Lynn Smith said, "Hey, hey, hey." Ari Ferguson, hello, hun. Very nice. Thank you so much for tuning in. Jackie said, "This is good." Joshua K. Smith, thank you so very much for joining. Glenn Gasper, thank you for joining. And I know here on Instagram, we've had a few comments. There's someone from India who's insisting on going live. I've seen a back and forth conversation of someone here asking.
They've got something to say.
He has something to say and he'd like to join. So maybe on Instagram Live after we sign off, I will see
Okay.
what he has to say. It's quite funny. But I just want to thank everyone so very much for tuning in. And remember that we are live every Tuesday and Thursday at 12 noon here on the Keys to Success show, where we speak with local business professionals and entrepreneurs to discuss some of their keys to success. So until next time, it is your girl, Miss Lee, coming to you live. Tim Harvey, thank you again so very much for tuning in.
Ms. Lee.
You guys have an absolutely amazing afternoon. I look forward to speaking with you all again soon. Thank you.
Peace.